Remove your keys from the ignition and put them on the roof now.
This was the beginning of a daylight nightmare for collector car owners Robin and Beverly Bruins of Washington State.
When I turned and looked back and saw 3 gun barrels pointed at me, it obviously hit me like, whoa, what is going on here?
Go ahead and lift the shirt up. No, lift the top of your collar.
Robin Bruin says multiple officers were shouting commands he found conflicting or confusing.
Okay, turn around slowly. Turn around slowly. Give me talk. Stop. Turn around.
And I looked at him and said, are you talking to me?
Yes, you. Turn around.
You know, what's going on?
Okay, get on your knees.
Do you think this car is stolen or something? And he said, exactly right. And the car is going back to its rightful owner.
Passenger, bring it to your hand.
We were treated like we were Bonnie and Clyde.
Beverly Bruins was also removed from the car at gunpoint. She had a broken leg at the time.
So I went to reach for my crutches in the back seat, and then they yelled at me.
Put your hands up in the air. Leave it alone. Okay.
A woman trooper takes Beverly into custody and checks her background.
And asked me if I'd like to say goodbye to my husband. And I said, goodbye to my husband? Where's my husband going? And she said, well, he's going to jail. Rob, just relax. So I went over to see Rob, and he's in the back seat, no shirt on, hands behind his back, and tears are running down his face.
No, we're down, we're okay.
Robin is ultimately taken to the Clark County Detention Center, where he spends most of the night in a holding cell with 24 new acquaintances.
I don't even think I've ever stood next to a police car, let alone been inside one.
While Robin was in jail, Beverly took her crutches and luggage to a hotel, where she was ultimately able to sort things out. It turns out the car was stopped by the trooper because it had a historical license plate that did not show up in a computer check. Restored plates issued in the year a classic car was made are legal in Washington. The registration, which the Bruins provided the trooper, shows the historical plate in a box called equipment number, but the actual plate number is in another box. The trooper did run this number, but he didn't include the plus sign, so it came back to the wrong vehicle. That's error number 1.
218.
Error number 2 came when the trooper radioed the correct VIN number of the car into dispatch, but the dispatcher entered the wrong number into the computer, and the erroneous number came back to a stolen car similar to the Bruins. The Bruins don't understand why officers didn't act on what appeared to be their own belief that the Bruins might be innocent victims.
Is it a misunderstanding, or?
It might be. I don't. I mean, I tend to believe him. I mean, I'm going to run him first before I make a determination. If the guy comes back with possession of, history and stuff like that of anything, if I find out he's lying to me, then that's different. But as of right now, I mean, he seems to be legit.
I mean, he was on the phone, talked to his supervisor, talked to the other officers when they got there, talked to another officer when we got to the detention center, and they all agreed that I should be behind bars. And that is just incredible.
Robin was not this, this car thief. They knew that, and that's repeatedly on the video. You can hear them questioning themselves, yet they still chose to arrest him.
And so the Bruins are suing the officers and the head of the NHP for civil rights violations.
All they had to do was have one guy double check what the dispatcher numbers were, and the whole situation wouldn't have happened.
They should have used a better character judgment. We live our lives so we don't get into situations like this.
To be treated like both of us were, I mean, at gunpoint and handcuffed, and then, humiliated by making you take your shirt off and get on your knees on the side of the freeway. I mean, why should that have to happen to anybody?
Glenn Meek, 8 News Now.
We reached out to NHP for comment. A spokesman for the Department of Public Safety told us they don't comment on pending litigation. We have a copy of the letter NHP sent to the district attorney asking them to dismiss the case against Mr. Bruins on our website, 8newsnow.com.